To fix your depression, your lack of drive, your lack of purpose, the lethargy that's been infecting your life, you need to fix your body first. Most people today live with depression, low energy, low drive, low purpose. When they know they're meant for more, they have some ambition. So they just think it's a motivation problem. What else could it be? So they just go on YouTube, watch some hardcore motivational stuff, some content on YouTube, and they just masturbate over it and then do nothing about it. The more content you watch without doing anything about it, the worse it gets. So you just go back scrolling. And worse, some people think I'm wired that way. I'm wired to be negative. I'm wired to be depressed. That's so fucked up. And that's who I used to be. And you're right, because the more you believe that, the more it will be the truth, because your mind, like, it's how it works. If you tell yourself that you're depressed all day and that's normal to you, this is how your body will respond. Your mind will respond. And so, yes, that will be your 24/7 state. And that's fucked up. So, it's not a motivation problem, it's a body problem, standard problem, and a lack of structure problem. That's really it. You can't think your way out of a physical problem because your body is the foundation of everything. And if your foundation is weak, everything else will be weak on top of it. When you finally decide to change your body, everything changes, bro. Your energy, your drive, you have some purpose, you have more clarity on what you want to do, and you'll get more ambitious. You'll also get better relationships because you'll attract more respect, more people. More people will be attracted by you because they can see that you're respecting yourself. So you'll get the respect of others, and most importantly, yourself. That's the thing we should all strive for. Respect, like having our self-respect. Because if you don't be surprised that you don't have any drive, that you don't have any purpose. Because some people just think, I didn't find my thing yet. I don't know what to do. Like, I know I'm ambitious, but I don't know where to put my energy on. Do you think God, the universe, will give you like the thing, your purpose, if you're not moving at all? If you're not proving to yourself that you're capable of doing things while scrolling all day long? Of course, you don't know. That's normal. You need to fix your body first. That's the first action towards a big snowball effect. Because imagine if you were jacked, 8 to 10% body fat year round, shiny abs on the beach or at the pool, wherever. Don't you think you'll act and feel differently? Don't you think you'll be confident? Do you think you'd behave the same if you were that guy? I don't think so. Because if you master your body, your nutrition, your habits, you'll become a totally different man and you'll become a beast, truly, if you really decide to go all in and lock in. All every areas of your life will get better. That's the magic of it. One, more ambition. Second, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, starts sending you signs, new thought, new positive thoughts, new ideas every single day because you're moving. You're doing the opposite of entropy, which is your current state today, entropy, which is a physics phenomenon that says that if you don't move, meaning if you don't put order into your life, disorder creates by yourself if you don't put energy into anything. Meaning maintenance doesn't exist. If you're not moving, if you're not putting energy into your body, your nutrition, whatever, you're regressing. That's entropy, and that's how life functions. But who the fuck is this guy? Why am I telling you that? Today I'm jacked, 10% body fat, locked in on my body, strong as fuck, and I'm confident, and I got the respect from others and the respect for myself. Because anywhere I go, whether my colleagues, my friend in school, wherever, they all ask me how do I stay that disciplined because they see the body, they see the habits, they see the food I eat. But it's not truly about discipline anymore. I'm just locked in. Like, I know what I gotta do. These are some standards. It's not discipline anymore. And that's the thing you need to understand, bro. The bar is so fucking low. I know it's not about others, but if you take care of yourself, if you truly lock in on your body, your habits, your mindset, etc., it's so easy to stand that nowadays. People think that eating some whole food, eating normally, training, walking, running, things that should be normal, they think it's discipline and you're hardcore, extreme. They need some advice to go on a fucking walk. That's your competition. That's my competition. It's so easy to stand out. And if you stand out, God will see that you are a guy that take care of yourself. And that's when he'll start to give you some new ideas, some new direction, help you find your purpose. And bro, it's not about genetics at all because I used to look like a fucking shrimp. I used to be skinny fat. I hated my body. I hated myself. I just hated me as a whole. I was so depressed, low energy, no drive. I was barely sleeping, playing video games all day long. And even once when I started getting in shape already, I also fell for the biggest miss ever, which is dirty bulking. And so I just ended up fat as fuck. And I was feeling bad as hell. Never do that, by the way. And so I just wasted my teenage years, as I said, skinny fat. And it wasn't only about that. I had no confidence, which is one thing. I hated myself, which is another thing. But I wasn't social at all. Like, it's not only that I couldn't speak to girls, which is one thing and pretty common to nerdy teenagers, but I couldn't even speak to other men, other boys my age, because I used to place myself inferior to other people naturally. That was so fucked up. Today it's the opposite. I can talk to anyone, respected by everyone because they can see that I respect myself, and I have great relationships. I have a girlfriend, pretty girlfriend that goes to the gym as well. But yeah, I've been low energy and operating as a fucking low frequency monkey mind motherfucker for most of my life, and it's destroyed me. When I see the contrast from today and back then, like I'm too, you won't even be able to recognize me. I'm so much different. People who I knew in middle school, high school, they don't even recognize me in the street. They don't know who I am. It's that crazy. So I was struggling at first, like just like everybody. I was on and off. 2 weeks, I was telling myself that I would do some cardio because this was my only knowledge about getting in shape back then. Cardio, please starving myself, dump. But anyways, I was just on 2 weeks, then off 3 months, and it was like that over and over and over again. It wasn't until I decided to change because I just saw myself in the mirrors every day. I had in myself, I just had to change, and this happened. I've almost become anorexic, but that's a story for another day. And so even when I was in shape, I was still feeling like shit. Low energy, depressed, no purpose. But that's because I was just half-assing it. When you half-ass something, when you half-ass your body, the foundation of everything will start getting worse in every other area, your business, maybe your career, school, everything. That is the foundation of everything, because once I was in an academic exchange in Seoul and the cultural shock was too intense for me. I was such a pussy, and I was in a terrible neighborhood, bad area, and I was so depressed. And I asked myself, what can I do? I just hate this place, so what can I do instead to start and feel better? And then I realized that the times where I was the most high frequency, I had the most energy, was the time when I was truly locked in on my training, my body, my diet, walking more, listening to some good audio, stuff like that. And so, guess what I did? I found a calisthenics park 30 minutes away from my apartment. I didn't even care. I was just going there. Then I found out that the university I was staying at had a gym. And that's when everything started to go like that. Just because I started to looking on my body. This even allowed me to earn a 4.5 GPA in my semester in Seoul. I started socializing as well. Everything, like, you need to understand this, bro. Everything starts getting better when you take care of your body. My work, my relationship, I have more energy, more drive, more of everything. But how do you do that? How can you go from lethargic to being locked in on your body? First, you need to have a daily blueprint that makes it unavoidable to do the things, because if you have to think about what to do, what to eat every single day, you'll never be able to do it. That's impossible. You have, like, there's too much willpower, too much thinking power involved, that you won't be able to do it. If you have to think what to eat for dinner after an exhausting day at work, you'll just end up ordering some Uber Eats. So you need a daily blueprint that covers your habits, your training, your nutrition. And that's what I'm making my guys inside my Forge Demand program, which is a fitness and mindset program, do. They have their daily blueprints, they have their habits, training, nutrition, everything done for them, and even some mindset stuff. So the first thing I have is the 360 training protocol. So the gym, strength training plus hypertrophy, even some calisthenics if you're into that. Really going all in the gym four to 5 times a week. And you might tell me that, oh, I don't have time. I can only train 3 times a week. You have time. You need to ask yourself what will need to be true to do it every single day, even if it's only 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 20 minutes. What will need to be true in my life right now? What thing do I need to cut off? What thing I need to replace to go to the gym every single day? So in the gym, some hard compounds like pull-ups, dips, stuff like that, and some isolation movement really focused on where you want to take uh, the most amount of muscle. Could be shoulders, could be arms, Damn, I'm getting leaner, bro. That's nice. Also, 3 cardio sessions of minimum 20 minutes per week and 10K steps daily. That's the 360 training protocol that will make you get great in every area: training, aesthetic body, cardio, endurance. You'll raise your heartbeats, and so you'll get better mentally, physically, everything. That's how you get energy. You don't have a lack of energy because you're moving too much. You have a lack of energy because you're not moving enough. I can't emphasize this enough. And that's the truth. Oh, but Killian, I don't have time to walk 10K steps daily. Yes, you do. Let's be real, you fucking do. If you switch the 4 hour daily screen time with walking and maybe listening to some music at first, because that's how you build a habit, doing something that you don't want to do with something that you like, or listening to some audiobook, podcast that you like, listening to YouTube videos while walking. That's how you fucking do it. Yes, you do have the time to walk 10K steps daily, bro. And some people might say, I don't have the genetics. How will you know if you have the genetics or not if you didn't lock in for at least 6 months? Next. Then we have the Forge Physique Roadmap, which is basically four different phases. The first phase is the baseline priming. You can go on a diet if you're not locked in on your habits, your training, your nutrition. That doesn't make sense. First, we need to prime your body, go as high as possible in terms of calories while you do your habits. So this is mainly for beginners or the guys who train but they're not lean. They're kind of fat. So first we need to do a baseline priming. So it's basically to stabilize recovery, energy, and performance. The thing is, most people skip this and they just end up skinny fat because they go way too low too quickly when they're increasing the training on the side and the cardio on the side. Then once the baseline priming is done, we have the diet phase. So set your macros, a deficit of 300 to 500 calories. Get your carbs as high as possible to maintain your energy level in the gym and cognitively, and obviously get your fats for your hormones. Never forget about fats like eggs, avocado, olive oil, whatever, things like that, or you'll just fuck up your hormones, and don't do that. Then once the guy is lean, 10% body fat, I make them go on the reverse diet, which is basically around 2 to 4 weeks, and you are increasing your calories back up few days by few days, and you'll get leaner by eating more because you'll introduce carbs again into your metabolism, and everything will go into your muscles, and your metabolism will just be boosted. And that's the biggest cheat code in the fitness space. Last time I went on a reverse diet, I was at around 1900 calories, and I went back up to 3000 calories while still getting leaner and losing weight. And once you're done with the reverse diet, you start the performance phase, which is basically your new maintenance, which is pretty high. Trust me, pretty high, and way more than you thought it was. And you go on a very slight surplus to do a lean bulk that will last around 3 to 6 months. And you'll stay between 8 to 12% body fat during this time period. And once you go above 12%, you go on the recomp phase, then the reverse diet and performance. And that's basically the cycle for life, and you'll stay lean for life. That's the thing, bro. You only got to get lean once and then do this process over and over while gaining some lean muscle. Once you did the first 4 phases, you're set for life. Fitness becomes so fucking easy. So the nutrition, you have to fuel for aesthetic, energy, and performance, not some crash diet or not some bodybuilding diet where you eat carbs every 2 hours and you'll just be tired for the whole day. Prairie does whole food, potatoes, rice, meat, fish, stuff like that. You can have one flexible day where you kind of eat more transformed food that you love, but you still need to respect your macros. And so for this phase, the fuel for aesthetic and energy, what I make my clients do is, depending on their lifestyle, depending on when they work, we have different meal timing, specifically tailored for their cognitive work, for their physical performance when they're going to hit the gym, which is where the most amount of carbs will be at. So yeah, that's personal to everyone. Maybe for you it would be intermittent fasting because you found out that you work way better in the morning without eating anything. Maybe for somebody else it would be to no carbs until noon or until the evenings. Maybe for another guy who wakes up very early and goes to the gym at 5 a.m., maybe he'll just eat a banana some way before and then some rice or some oats after. And that's why everyone is different and everybody should have a personalized meal plan for their own needs. So to recap everything, you need to have the body. If you fix your body with everything I just said before, you'll fix your depression. You'll fix your lethargy, your lack of purpose, your lack of drive. When you fix this foundation, everything comes back to normal and you even get way better, exponential. The bar is very low, my friend. So remember, The blueprint is the umbrella. Your habits, the training, the nutrition, everything. Your daily inputs, even the mindset. I didn't really talk about mindset in this video. Let me know if you want some videos on mindset because I have some precise morning and evening protocol to wire yourself into that identity and being aligned with your own self, with your higher self that is already in shape. So we have the phased roadmap that gets you shredded. The four phases, remember, priming, diet, reverse diet. Then we have the performance phase, and then we go over and you're basically lean for life. The nutrition, so eat for aesthetic, but also for energy. You don't want to have some crash diet, being tired after eating your lunch. You can have a great body, but if you're tired all day, what's the purpose of it? Then we have the training, 4 to 5 sessions in the gym per week, going hard, some good compound movement, focus on the areas that you want to gain muscle on, minimum of 3 cardio sessions per week. This can be running, this can be some least cardio, so some bike, like the bike at the gym, stairmasters, and don't forget about your 10K steps. You can have a minimum of 8K steps, but you need to aim for 10K minimum. Trust me, when you get this habit in, this becomes so fucking easy. Now you know everything you gotta do to fix your body, to fix your depression. You have the blueprint and you just need to track your inputs so you stay on track and you hold yourself to a higher standard. Because if you don't track what you gotta do, if you don't have that daily blueprint in front of you, like in a sort of maybe a habit tracker, you won't remember to do them. Not every day at least. So you need to look at that thing every single day. And that's how you'll become a beast, brother. Being shredded is the byproduct of going all in. And being high energy, full of purpose, is the byproduct of being in shape, shredded, jacked. 8 to 10% body fat. So if you like this video, you can subscribe to the channel. Go follow me on IG as I share my daily process in my stories where I talk about training, mindset, habits, everything that I do on a daily basis. And you can hit me up in my DMs if you have any question and I'll make sure to answer ASAP. And make sure to follow. Let's keep learning. Let's keep winning. Let's fucking go.